All right. So for those of you who watched the end of that game, and we're not just going to sit up here and say, well, the Yankees lost because of the umpires. But what I will say is this, Jake. You cannot tell me, given the situation, and every time we go to replay, we like to believe that there's going to be conclusive evidence to make a decision. And for the most part, I mean, it was pretty split. I mean, if you listen to what people say, Yankees fans, Red Sox fans, some people say, oh, he was tagged on the shoulder. I think he may have been out, right? And the broadcast actually used that exact terminology. And you had Joe Girardi sitting on the broadcast saying, I don't know. They might say he was tagged on the shoulder there. And we're sitting there talking about, is his fingertip up? Is it not? You can't really tell, but I can see them making this call. It's by definition not conclusive evidence. He was safe. That's the whole point of the call on the field. Now, mind you, same premise, line drive down the right field line, not conclusive at all. You cannot tell if that ball was fair or foul. But the call on the field was that it was a foul ball, so they kept the call. And then Aaron Boone's throwing his gum on the field, and the umpire has his underwear so far up his behind that he ejects him immediately. The second his gum touched the ground, you would have thought he threw a bucket of baseballs at the umpire. He was gone instantly. And after that, by the way, DJ LeMahieu is out at first base. What could DJ have possibly said to be ejected as fast as he was? Was it the movie, The Semi-Pro? Right? What was that? And I think, Jake, you put it pretty well before we went live here as we were getting set up.
Did I?
It just... Yeah, and obviously not in a PG fashion. But my goodness, we're not going to sit here and say that the Yankees played great baseball. They didn't. No one hit today, right? Aaron Judge hit a ball a mile when we needed it. But overall, Garrett Crochet pretty much did what he wanted. He did. And then obviously you saw some ego challenges there from Garrett Crochet. He was throwing the hardest fastballs of the night, trying to sneak cheese by a rat, the best hitter of this generation. So didn't work. And we're not just going to say that the Yankees should have won and the umpires, but my God, did they do an atrocious job today. Jake, what'd you see out there?
Oh, they were horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. The first base umpire, I will call him out directly. He needs to be fined. Honestly, he should be suspended. Your job as an umpire is to do your job and actually call, ball strikes and, fair foul. But you also need to de-escalate situations. He just escalated everything. He wouldn't let anybody get a word in. He just said, nah, you're gone. DJ LeMahieu has never, since I've been watching the Yankees, ever, talked. He never speaks. And he says one thing. He's like, yeah, you got it wrong. It was definitely a fair ball. And
treated him like he was Milton Bradley. You would have thought he was Milton Bradley over there at first base.
Oh, my God.
They freaked out. Whoa, my God, you're going to call me that? And you're ejected. You're gone.
And that's my thing, because they sit there in their high tower, and it's like it's just so no one goes to the field to watch you. Okay, we all hate you. I hate every umpire. I basically do. They ruin games, and yes, it's a thankless job because when you do a good job, you don't really get credit for it. But you're not part of the entertainment. You shouldn't be any part of the game. I am so tired of umpires. I really am. And it has nothing to do with the fact that they have so much power. It's every time you and I complain about umpires, and we don't complain about them all the time. We complain about home plate umpires. We'll say, okay, yeah, that call, they botched that, whatever. But, I mean, we've just seen some piss-poor attitudes, effort, ego. You're an umpire. He's making millions of dollars. Why the hell do you have an ego?
Why is there a voting system, by the way? So if an umpire, right? Now, let's just slow this down. Mm-hmm. Now, again, we're going to talk about the baseball today. We want to make sure that we get to that. I mean, it's not going to be a 2-hour episode. We will get to the X's and O's here. But how is it possible that a singular umpire on the field can just go out there and make decisions for the group? How is it possible that you can have DJ LeMahieu go over to first base, say 2 words to the guy? I don't care what he said to you. It couldn't have possibly been that bad. It just couldn't have been. So how is it possible that Aaron Boone throws his gum on the field, one man makes a decision, oh, this is over the top. I can't have this at the yard. This is impeding from the entire viewing experience. They came to watch me, the umpire, the home plate umpire. You're gone. And the first base umpire and the guy at second base, they have no say. No say in this. In my opinion, if there's an ejection, all umpires should have to agree, or we should have some type of voting system in place, because there's no reason that I should be having DJ LeMahieu off the field or Aaron Boone not in the dugout. And obviously, you saw Tim Hill pitching to Narvaez when he could have gone after a rookie left-handed hitter. Now, am I aware this is Roman Anthony and he's the number one prospect in baseball? Yes. But this is the exact situation that everybody was clamoring for in the World Series. I want Tim Hill. I want Tim Hill instead of Nestor Cortez. Against who, Jake? Against Freddie Freeman. So now suddenly he can't handle bases loaded with one out to get weak contact. His job is to get weak contact against left-handed hitters.
Yeah.
What are we doing? I don't understand it. I didn't get it.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. I mean, I don't understand ever having Tim Hill out there when it's, first blood, right? It's do or die time. You have a ghost runner. He pitches to contact. A lot of people would say he pitches to soft contact. No, that's what he did in 2024. I've been saying he pitches to hard contact all year. No one wants to believe me. And then all of a sudden, Narvaez hits 99 off the Green Monster wall. Okay? I'm sorry. Like, at some point or another, we have to be honest with ourselves. Tim Hill should be nowhere near a baseball mound in extra innings. Not with this. If there was nobody on Gary, or if a guy's on first, okay. But when you have that ghost runner right away, no. And they would say, oh, well, he did his job. He traded out, and the guy moved over to third. No, that's how you win games. The Red Sox won in the most textbook way. It's why I texted you immediately after Anthony Volpe gets tossed out at third, even though he was called safe and it was inconclusive. And I don't care what anyone says. Well, I thought he was out, and, he did, or not, I thought. He's definitely out. I love the definites. He's out. He's safe. He's out. He's safe. Actually, we have no idea, because what I'm seeing in the replay is, okay, maybe his hand's up like this or whatever, but you can't tell if his palm is hitting the back of the base.
It wasn't definitive by any stretch
of
anyone's imagination. You'll have 6 people tell you, oh, no, he was safe. He was safe. That's the point of replay. When we watch it on replay, we should all go, yeah, guess his hand wasn't on the base. You can see it clear as day right there. We should all pretty much unanimously agree on that. That's how you should go about replay. And by the way, I'm just going to go out and I'm going to throw it out there. Michael K brought up something on the broadcast, and he mentioned this instant replay doesn't feel so instant. If the replay takes longer than 5 minutes, the play stands. You cannot change it. So don't tell me that a bunch of goofball goobers up in some tower in New York City are going, oh, we're trained umpires and we're going to take our time because this is a big call. No, it's taking you 10 minutes to decide whether or not he's out or safe. The call should stand.
And I thought you did a good job because of contextualizing it, because I know there are people in the comment section like, don't blame the umpires. It's not their fault. You're absolutely right. They are not the ones that overturned the first call, and they're not the ones that decided to have the call stand on the second call, right? They didn't even get a chance to look at it. It goes to the booth. We get that. What we were upset about the umpires with was just how quick trigger they were to throw these guys out. And to be honest with you, I mean, the umpires weren't great tonight anyway, but those moments in the game really frustrated me. And to be honest with you, I do think Review got it wrong 100%, because we've seen how many times do we see it every Sunday during NFL season? Oh, it's inconclusive, but you saw he drags the toe. It's a catch. But, it was called an incomplete pass on the play. And since it's too hard to tell, we're going to keep it as is. And you know what people say? That sucks, but at least there's a process.
There's a logic to it.
The NFL follows the inconclusive call way more than the MLB does. The MLB has it in their rules, but they don't even stand by it. How many times are you sitting there, and it goes in the Yankees' favor? I'm not even going to say it doesn't. It happens a lot where we'll text each other and be like, I think he's out by a mile. And they're like, oh, yeah, he's safe. They're like, all right, I guess it helped the Yankees today. But
we're not sure what's actually the process. I just think replay should just be intended for, and mind you, replay is used in all types of ways. Did his foot come off the base after being safe at second base? and now it's unlocking this whole other aspect of baseball. That's not really what instant replay's for. Instant replay is for an egregiously blown call. Galarraga over at first base. His foot is clearly standing on the base. He's out.
The Adrian Gonzalez call in the postseason.
Correct. You call the obvious call. If you look at Anthony Volpe's slide, you'd say, well, you can make the argument that he could have been out. You definitely wouldn't say it was definitive. So having said that, he should just be safe. And he wasn't. So mind you, I want to address this because this seems equally as important. The Yankees had, and I want to make sure I have this exactly correct. Good Lord, MLB. Just horrible. We had 4 knocks tonight. We had 5 yesterday. That is 9 hits in 18 innings of baseball. Now, mind you, when we're winning 1-0, we won yesterday, completed a sweep against Kansas City. We were all happy. We were all talking about, and understandably so, the fact that we can win these one-run games. We can win with our C lineup, no Aaron Judge. They find a way to grind out a win. But I will tell you this. You can't harp on for 2 hours about umpiring, which is why we're going to get to the game here. You can't do that when you have half a knock an inning in 2 games of baseball. You can't do that. So is it a tough assignment? Obviously, you flew in at 4:30 last night in the morning, and Boston had a day off. Maybe you can make the argument that Boston was sort of teed up to take the first game of this series, but championship teams just have to find a way, so we're going to have to take our lumps here. We lost this game. We move on. The Yankees have to find a way to bounce back and take this series, and I'm well aware this isn't the division series, but the messaging of this series, it's an important series.
I love that you said that because that's exactly what you told me after we finished the podcast. You're like, wait, so Boston is actually, it might have been during the show last night, right? You brought it up.
I'm not sure. It's all jumbled. I'm not sure when I brought it up. I probably was complaining after the show. And mind you, when I brought that up, I don't want any built-in. I don't think our audience wants to hear that excuse either. I don't.
No, but it is interesting, and it is a good point, and there's logic to be had there because it does actually impact. And the Yankees are the best road team in baseball, so I think it's fair to give them a little bit of understanding there. Not necessarily give them a pass, but have some context where it's needed. So I like that you brought that up because, we were kind of sitting there wondering, the Red Sox have a day off, and the Yankees they're coming back from Kansas City.
Their ace is slated. Oh, yeah, Friday night. Yeah.
The back
Garrett
end
Crochet
of the
ready
Yankees
to go.
Rotation is going against their ace. No, that is
we're
funny.
all ready. We had to have Aaron Judge sit to get his day off, right? Everybody else banged up. We played 4 days in a row. We swept this team, and then we have to fly to you.
About the
get
total
there
bases.
At 4:30. Yeah. So
it just took
the Yankees
until the
made
final.
their bed. I know.
The very
Yankees
end
made
there.
their bed.
Well, one thing I want to bring up here, because I'm sure we'll talk about pitching a little bit, but I want to bring this up because 5th inning bothered me, really bothered me. So, do you remember in the 5th inning when LeMahieu had that hit?
No.
Okay. I mean, I don't blame you. This game was a snooze fest, but the 5th inning got you thinking because it's like you have the throwing error by Toro. Dominguez is safe at first, right? Then you have LeMahieu, his single to right. Dude, how do you not send Dominguez home? I have had it with Rojas, man. He'll literally be like, he'll send guys and they'll get like, remember he sent Stanton and he was out by like a century.
It's comedic relief at this point. We're not sure. And mind you, when you lose games 2-1, 1-0, maybe you lose a postseason game and you didn't send a guy. Otherwise, like in hindsight, you say, we probably should have sent that guy. You're going to sort of bring up the staff. But overall, it does feel like our third base coaches just aren't quite sure when to send guys and when not to. Because obviously, Jason Dominguez is one of our fastest base runners.
He was
our fastest.
Easily going to be safe. Did you see like the way they threw it in too? They were like basically giving him the run. They weren't playing run, they weren't playing a defense there. They were like, okay, let's just get it in. There's going to be a run. Jason Dominguez is really fast. And then they were kind of surprised that he stayed.
Can I ask you a question though? What was the score up until that point?
1-0.
It was a 1-0 game.
How do you not send him?
So in that moment, when okay, Boston scores in the 2nd inning, we haven't scored at all. and there's a bang bang 50-50 decision, what are you thinking as a third base coach? Anytime there's a 50-50 play, you know what you're doing? You're going. That's what you do. You push the envelope because it was clear as day up until that point. And mind you, the umpires didn't lose us this game. The Yankees made a series of, they played their way into the situation, and then you coach your way into the situation by being passive. And mind you, we don't want to pick on guys too much here. Obviously, it's a split-second decision. But when you make a split-second decision and it happens to be the wrong decision, it could cost you. I think that's exactly what happened today. The Yankees sort of just went station to station through this game. Obviously, Aaron Judge turned it on its head there at the end, but it's not going to be enough. You're not going to get away with that on the road against Boston, a team that's going to get up for this series. Everybody knows that's going to happen. And I want to get to some of these super chats and make sure we catch up because you guys have been great already.
Appreciate
so thank you. Yeah, Apex, we really appreciate it. And by the way, if you're new here, please make sure you like this video and subscribe. We would love to host you again. I promise you the games don't usually go this bad. Apex with the 2 says Yanks can't maintain win streaks greater than 3 games. Big problem in my opinion. So I'm going to say this. I shouldn't call it a gripe. My biggest concern coming into the season, before we ever threw first pitch on opening day, I wanted to know what were the fundamentals going to be like? What type of defensive team were we going to be? How do we play on the road? How are we going to find ways to grind out one-run games? I wanted to know all of these things because I said if we lost Juan Soto, you're going to have to be great in all of those areas. And Jake, don't you know we've been excellent in each of those areas? So if you had to ask me, which team is it in baseball that's throwing together win streaks greater than 6-7 games consistently? And I tell you, no team. San Diego had about a 3-week stretch. They couldn't win a game. The Dodgers are currently in the process of about to lose their division lead. San Francisco is actually beating them. I'm not sure the exact score now, but the division lead's tight. They're not healthy, right? So there's no team in baseball preserving 6-7 game win streaks consistently. It just doesn't happen. No. We just need to focus on what the Yankees are great at and just, take it as it comes.
Well, it's what you told me when we first started doing this show. Last year, early last year, you said managers, yes, they want to win every game, but they're trying to win every series. That's the benchmark. That's the marker. Like, we won a 2 out of 3. If you win 2 out of 3, well, think about it. You're not going to put together a 3-game win streak, right? If you're only winning 2 out of 3 games, you're not going to put together a 3-game win streak. So
we did that with Kansas City, to your point, right?
Yeah. But if Kansas you win 2 out of 3,
right?
Think about that. Like, you would rather do that every time instead of not having those crazy win streaks.
But you want to believe if we have a 10-game win streaks, it makes you feel like you're the best team in baseball. If you win 11 games in a row, people just perceive it as you can't be beat by anybody. But Aaron Boone's job also is to minimize the damage. In that Kansas City series, let's go backwards here a second. In that series, they decided we're not going to play Aaron Judge. Right? Jazz Chisholm's banged up. You look up, you're seeing Pablo. You're not seeing big number 99. How are the Yankees going to find a way to win this game? How's that even going to happen? And everyone would say, well, this feels like a punt. And yet, the Yankees find a way to win that game, right? Ball's thrown away. Pablo falls down practically, makes it home. And then all of a sudden you look up and said, well, if we had lost that game, would it have been the end of the world? No, because Aaron Judge needed a day off. He just did.
Yeah.
And he got it. And now you go into this Boston series, Aaron Judge goes deep in game 1. It's already paying dividends. So all I'm saying is this. Do I care the Yankees win 7 games in a row? Not really. Would I like to see it? Sure. But what I really care about is you don't have any prolonged losing streaks. If we have that, we've got a problem.
Yeah, can you imagine being Garrett Crochet, the dominance he had today, and you don't get a win?
That's what he gets. If you're gonna challenge Aaron Judge
that was
with multiple fastballs in a row, I mean, you just kind of you get what you pay for. But I guess he's wasting time.
I texted you. I mean, albeit I was on a 45-minute delay.
Yeah, you were way behind. You're like, let's go, Judge. I'm like, he already hit a home run. Like,
no, what did I say? I feel it in my bones. I knew he was going up because here's why. And this is why it's so important for a hitter like Judge, because every at bat he's learning. And you can say what you will. Crochet got the best of him. And I even tweeted out, I'm like, Red Sox fans must be doing backflips, thinking like, oh my God, we have the only guy in the league right now to stop Judge. But I started watching the at-bats, and he's getting closer and closer and closer. And I noticed when he went on the batter's box, like you could tell, like he knew. He was locked in. So the next pitch, Crochet doesn't go with a high fastball. He goes with a lower fastball. And I was like, oh, yeah, Judge is. Because the high fastball, that seems to be a struggle for Judge. I hate saying Judge struggles with anything, but the high fastball, you can get him. But that
you can
low
probably
fastball,
say that he struggles with Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet,
yeah,
more times than not, he's got Aaron Judge's numbers.
And 7 at bats. I mean,
right. So
insane.
clearly he had confidence in him, and I like the decision of having him out there in the game. I thought that was the right choice.
Yeah,
it was just the game plan against him. Just it reeked of it. Just too much confidence. There's no reason for you to think you're the big bully on campus. You are not. You're still Garrett Crochet, which is a great pitcher, but you're not Aaron Judge.
You saw that. He was definitely like, I'm going to do this, and then he didn't, and he was pissed. And, I mean, rightfully so. He gave away the game in that sense where it was over. If he strikes out Judge, no one else is hitting, right? And at that point, you have to feel like the game is over. Although I thought Bellinger put together some really good hacks at the plate, and I thought he was going to get the best of Chapman. I actually thought he was going to homer. Not easy to go up against him. It's funny. Maybe towards the end of his Yankee career, but since he's been a Red Sox, it's not necessarily an easy feat. But Mark, appreciate the super chat here. Thank you for the 10. This game hurts and burns more than any other loss this season for me. How do you pitch to Narvaez at the end there, not put the rookie with one hit all season on the spot to make the play? Arg. So he's a pirate at the end of there. But no, I agree with Mark, and this is exactly what Gary was saying before we went live. And I'm sure he's already said it now. They're starting to jumble. That's kind of scary. But but no, I get it. Narvaez has the upper hand because Tim Hill doesn't have reverse splits. So him pitching there, I'm going to chalk it up to this. You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm going to chalk it up to Boone getting tossed. I don't think Boone would have had him there. I don't.
Yeah, so it just really makes me just curious, though. I shouldn't say this is not Aaron Boone's fault, okay? Like, and you obviously understand this.
Yeah, no, I'm not blaming Boone.
But it's interesting. Like, did it really take Connie Mack to realize that Roman Anthony hasn't done anything in Major League Baseball? Nothing. He's done absolutely nothing in Major League Baseball. He's going to be a great player. He's going to be. But how is it possible that you allow a player who's already shown he can have success in the immediate, in the short term?
Yes.
You go after him with your lefty specialist, but your lefty specialist can't be trusted to throw strikes with the bases loaded when he throws strikes more times than not. He's all over the zone. He pitches, as you put it, Jake, to contact. So for anyone, it didn't take Aaron Boone to make this decision. Yes, you're right. If Boone was in there, we probably don't make this mistake. We probably not. But did it take a wizard to figure this out?
No.
The entire broadcast was saying, well, you can walk Devers, and you certainly can argue you make the decision here to walk this guy.
You're going to go after the guy that you traded away, the guy who has an axe to grind against the Yankees for trading him to Boston? That's the guy that you're going to go at?
I don't care so much about the narrative of Narvaez, but our organization knows what he does well more than arguably any other team other than Boston.
Probably
we
more
know
than
what
Boston.
He does. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. You know the game plan, you know the scouting reports. Roman Anthony so far he's not hitting. He's hitting 067. I know short sample size, 15 at bats, but guess what, guys? 15 at bats in your baseball career, that doesn't help you in the clutch. I'm here to tell you right now, being a rookie does not help you with the bases loaded and one out when you need to get a ball off the ground. For a contact ground ball guy, it just doesn't. So it was a mistake. In my opinion, the Yankees sort of coached and managed and made mistakes. The umpires kind of helped it along, but they were just the accelerant on our mistakes.
I will also say this, two things. One, you ask any Boston fan, I don't think anybody wanted Roman Anthony at the plate. I think they would much rather have Narvaez, who had proven to be effective this year, over 800 OPS at the plate. So they would take that. First thing. Second thing, I know people are going to, in the comment section of the chat, I didn't see, but I know somebody is going to bring up, Boone said, he's probably been asked, Boone said if he was in, he would have stuck with Tim Hill. I don't buy it. And here's why. It's an old thing where if you respect your coworker, you're not throwing your coworker under the bus. Boone, admitting that he would do something different than Brad Ausmus would just make Brad Ausmus look bad. So you can say what you will, but I can tell you right now, Boone would never do that. So I truly believe that in that moment, he would have walked to get to Roman Anthony. I do believe that was the case. And Roman Anthony being a right-hander, I actually think he puts in Devin Williams. I think Williams would have been, yes, and here's why. Because I think he would have wanted the missed bat, right? I think he would have wanted the hit. You only need one out. I don't think you're even trying to chance a ball in the air. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the green monster.
concept of us trying to miss bats. Obviously,
that's
Devin
what I would
Williams
have done
does
too,
it better. But if you're going to leave Tim Hill in, I don't have a problem with it, to be honest with you. But if you're going to leave that player in, you need to have the matchup that you have him in there for. That's my biggest concern with this. So, but if you went to Devin Williams, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. Obviously, Devin Williams having worked the day before maybe was part of their process. No idea. But Apex with the super with the 2 says umps were bullied, nerds drunk on power. Honestly, it's one of their last years, if not their last year of being able to have this much impact. I'm just going to relish in that fact, and then we'll just move on. And Kyle with the super with the 2 says, what's the point of replays if they still get it wrong? And listen, guys, a lot of people who, and these are Yankees fans as well, like I've seen some Yankees fans in our chat saying, no, I thought he was out. But it wasn't conclusive. It just wasn't. We would all be agreeing on one thing. If replay was used as intended, it very clearly wasn't. And Mark with the 20, we really appreciate it, Mark. Thank you for that. Says,
thank you, Kyle.
Agree with DJ ejection. And this, obviously, for those of you who missed it, was that quick hook, right? And that was our problem and your logic. But Boone knew he had gotten thrown out, arguing about New York replay. Calls an auto ejection, and he knew that in the post game. On side note, like Kay said, don't tell New York the original call. So I think that's interesting, Jake. What do you think about that? About New York being unaware of the call. I actually don't know if I like that. I don't know. I think the concept of we're not sure, maybe you can argue. They can just say we're unsure, inconclusive, and now it stands. But I'm assuming the guys in New York, they know the call. I don't really see how it's possible for them to be unaware of that call.
So I like where Michael K's head's at, because he's basically trying to be creative here, because there's something that's wrong with replay. We saw it today. But I'm going to take it a step further. I don't think these people should be hidden from like behind a veil. Showing like a little shot of the thing like while they're going over it isn't enough for me. Did you watch at any point the AAF, the XFL, the UFL, the USFL, any of those?
No.
Because I don't really blame you. But there was...
Is that the one that The Rock owns? Does he own one of them?
One of them, yeah. I used to watch it. Now I'm not really interested in it anymore. But they have a thing where when they go under the hood or whatever, right, and they're reviewing it, they have everyone mic'd up. So they have to literally go through their process, and they're like, okay, so they're like, oh yeah, so he makes a football move there. He extends the ball. Okay, so we're going to give it first down, and then, okay, it's going to be at the 22-yard line. Like, they go through the process. I would much rather have that, because if we're just sitting there and nothing is happening, and Michael K has to just be like, yeah, so they're staring at a screen, and we don't actually have any of the angles that they have right now, so we're just waiting.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. You have to imagine the guys in New York have some crazy replay. Like you saw in the NBA where they had I think they called it like bird's eye, and they were looking from the rafters.
Oh, the
like
Hawkeye that screwed the Lakers? Yeah.
Yeah. So that replay, never seen that replay ever. And no one else has ever seen that replay either.
It did its job as a one-off.
It showed up one time. We'll never see it again in history. But perhaps the guys in New York saw something different that was conclusive. But like you said, if they were mic'd up, we could hear that process. And obviously we didn't get that. So,
and I just continue to just love the Yes Network because it's not really a bias thing. They're always trying to find solutions. Like, okay, why is this happening? Can we fix it? And it's, I like where Michael K is coming from. I'm not saying I totally agree with it because I don't really know what I feel about it, right? Kind of like you. I'm kind of like, I don't know if that's the right answer or not. But I like that we're talking about making the game better. And I think, the best step to solving a problem is realizing there is one. There's an issue with the umpires. There's now an issue with review. Review takes too long. Review isn't as effective. And they need to withhold, and I see it in the comment section with Rocky Sullivan, shout out to one of our members there, who's saying I'm right. So obviously I'm going to give a shout out. But all jokes aside, the inconclusive label just needs to be pushed more in the MLB. Like, it actually needs to stand for what it stands for and not just like, today on a Sunday at 4 p.m., no one's really watching this game. It's the Nationals and whoever. Sure. He's safe. But then as soon as it's on like ESPN and everyone is watching it, now it's like, well, he would have been out during the day, but now we got everybody watching this. So I think the safe call is to call him out. Like, and it's like, what? Yeah, and this happens all the time. So, I'm sick of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I want to catch up on our supers here. So Apex says the Yankees need to fix their extra inning problem. I don't necessarily agree. I think the Yankees bullpen in general, other than like Cruz and Weaver, they don't necessarily have guys that you love to miss bats. It's a lot of contact. It's a lot of sinker, sweeper, right? It's a lot of that. Yeah. And our infield defense massively improved. This is the reason why our bullpen in general, overall, their numbers are pretty solid. But in a crunch where there's a ghost runner at second base, and Michael K hates this rule. He's long been saying it, and I also hate it. And you like the idea of the premise. It doesn't destroy your bullpen.
He always calls them something different. He's like, whatever you want to call them.
Whatever you want to call it. But it feels like it ruins a great baseball game. Boston played a tough game. Garrett Crochet was great tonight. And it just seems kind of silly that we have this random rule that just impacts the end of the game. But I'm going to say this. I don't think the Yankees have an extra inning problem. I just think more times than not, half the time you're going to be disappointed in extra innings. And if we're good in one-run games, which this season we are, then I don't see much of a problem. You shouldn't be going into extra innings this often anyway. So
you know what
it is. What will you say?
I'm going to use a Brian Cashman word. Crapshoot.
Oh, here we go.
It is a crapshoot. Extra innings is a crapshoot. We just saw the umpires were bad. The replay was bad. You get good pitching. You get bad pitching. You get a lucky broken bat hit. But because it's, this is the problem. And, they were trying to shorten these games. That was the objective behind this, right?
That's correct,
so,
yeah.
Congrats. You've shortened the game. But now, at the end of the game, you've essentially eliminated, like, the fun of the ending of the game. Like, you have this incredibly, it's extra innings. Extra innings is basically like, I just want to be at home. The home team wins more often than not.
It was Anthony Volpe, correct? He tried to steal third base. He eventually was out.
And there were people that had an issue with that.
Right, but guys, do you realize how much has to happen for Anthony Volpe to be at second base with 0 outs? I want people to understand what the ghost runner really is.
Yes.
It is essentially just guaranteeing that someone's already reached base and somehow, some way, they've also advanced to second base when all eyes are on them. And mind you, this is a similar situation that we saw from Dave Roberts in the championship series in 2004, right? And you're looking at that. Do you know how difficult it was for him to get to second base there?
Yeah.
Do you know how difficult that was? So the idea that we're just starting somebody, hey, you might as well just make it like dodgeball, where you just put your foot on the base like Little League. It is garbage. So I think baseball just sort of understands we do look silly in the short term, but people will be upset if guys are gassed, if guys are hurt. And that kind of leads us to our next super chat. And Jordan Richard, Jordan with the 5. Jordan, we really appreciate the support. Thank you for that. Says, interested in the bullpen management the next few days. This is interesting. I think we have a lot of overused arms in the bullpen. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be short and sweet. I'll kick it off to Jake. When you have Luke Weaver, who's now tracking ahead of schedule, that hamstring seems to be healing up very quickly, you're going to be burnt out. Fernando Cruz, was also down. He's sort of working his way back in there, right? Loizaga, you're seeing Devin Williams. These guys in one-run games where you have 9 hits in 2 full baseball games, you are going to use your bullpen. You are going to be burnt out. So I just think this is the ebbs and flows of the season. This is just what comes with the territory. You don't score 6 or 7 runs. You don't score even 5 runs. You're going to use a lot of bullpen arms. So I guess our offense is sort of putting us in this position right now.
Yeah. No, I get that. And they actually dropped the bullpen budget 4 hours ago.
Did you grab a screenshot of that?
I did. So
beautiful.
I'm going to put that up. I feel like that would be a nice little educate. Oh, it's going to be horrible quality. So sorry. Hopefully we can read it.
This is about to be I shouldn't even say what comes before 720? Is it 360?
I think it's going to be like 180p. But let's see if we can read it. Oh my God, great. It's way better than I thought.
No, it looks great. This is beautiful.
We need to start doing this. Let me get
the super chat off the screen because obviously we cannot see.
Yeah, shout out to Yes, by the way. This is the greatest graphic ever created. We don't need anything else. Like the bullpen budget should be. This needs to be like I need to be able to go and just find this like wherever. Because it matters so much. Yeri De Los Santos hasn't pitched since Tuesday, but he threw 40 pitches. So I don't think that they, wanted to use him. And this, of course, was going into tonight, right? So you do have to use a little bit of, math here. And Loizaga pitched 13 tonight. Hamilton pitched 10. Cruz went 26. And Hill went 20.
And Scott Effross was warming up, so don't forget that.
So Effross we'll see tomorrow. I don't really want to see Effross at all, but we'll see him tomorrow. He's available tomorrow. I mean, who knows? Like, we could see a perfect game for all I know tomorrow.
I'm also available tomorrow. I'm not pitching. So
Scott Effross is available tomorrow. Tim Hill, I would imagine, is not available tomorrow since he just pitched back-to-back. Yeri De Los Santos, I would say 40 pitches on Tuesday. He'll be good to go for Friday or Saturday. So Ian Hamilton just went. They might be able to. Yeah, it was a pretty quick outing, so only 17 pitches, so he's good. Loizaga went again, so no, I think he's out. Okay, so and then Leiter Jr. I don't know. I think he's available depending, but yeah. They definitely weren't going to go with Devin Williams today. Now I see that. So, yeah, I think the super chat, Gary, that Jordan put out there, I think is a really good point. In a way, they kind of had to go to Tim Hill because who else are you going to trust? Scott Effross? So I actually rescind my statement.
Our comment section would have been a disaster. If Scott Effross came into this game, and I think I said somewhere along the lines in our last episode, we're going to see Scott Effross in this series in a big game, aren't we? And obviously I was joking. I wasn't actually making a prediction. I won't beat my chest. But Scott Effross was warming up. He was. And if the Yankees felt like in that moment, we've got a tough right-handed matchup, they inexplicably were going to go to Effross. We don't know why. He's not good in the minor leagues. He's not good in the big leagues. And
I would imagine like 10 ERAs?
I don't like 10 ERAs anywhere. So to imagine that you're going to throw him in a Boston series, which, by the way, a lot of our chat, we're sort of hyped up for the series, right? Because there's a difference between beating a below 500 team or a 500 ball club in in Kansas City or wherever else. But when you play the Mets, the Dodgers, right, Boston, Houston, there's some teams that we have circled on our calendars that we want to take care of business. This is one of those teams. And I understand the matchup, Ryan Yarborough versus Garrett Crochet. It feels a little bit overmatched. They've got the day off. We're traveling, landing at 4:30. But I'll tell you guys, these are postseason feeling games. These are everyone, sellouts. Everyone's hyped up. Guys are getting ejected. We're not getting ejected because it's some random Friday night game. I promise you guys. It's because it's Boston. We wanted to send a message. We didn't get a chance to do that. It's unfortunate. And yeah, no question, this bullpen is gassed. They are. But this happens to all bullpens in the league. And I always like to use some of the best teams in baseball as an example. You look at a team like San Diego and what they were doing at the back end with Suarez, they had a clear understanding of who was pitching, when, and where. And all of a sudden, their starters started going down, and then what was the conversation a few weeks later? They started playing us, and we were saying, Jake, live on the broadcast, this bullpen's gas. We need to get to their bullpen. All of a sudden, it became a weakness. More times than not, your bullpen will become a weakness, whether it's talent or overusage. Right now, we are using the hell out of these boys.
Yes, and I think really what happened was you were getting some really good contribution from the top of the rotation. Will Warren had a few of those games where you're like, oh, man. But you also had a mix of the games with, Clark Schmidt when he was struggling, and, Yarbrough just got beat up, and then you had the Dodgers series. Now you factor it all in, and yeah, now you're using the bullpen a little bit more. And it's also getting warmer out. So bats are going to be, you would expect the offense is going to start, heating up across the league. There's going to be
They're facing
better.
Ken Griffey Jr. tomorrow, by the way.
Who's Ken Griffey Jr.? Oh,
Dobbins on Fox. He's got a 4.20 ERA because he's high.
Fox,
he's not Ken Griffey
really?
Jr. But let me say this
Really?
about the matchup here. If the Yankees want to be serious,
God,
right? If we
why?
want to be a serious team, and I'd imagine that they do, Carlos Rodon's been great all year. His ERA is under 3. It's 2.87. He's been electric. Over 100 Ks already. He's in the conversation for AL Cy Young. We need length. That is the most important thing. Obviously, run prevention just comes with the territory if you're going to go length. The Yankees bullpen needs it. Carlos Rodon, if you want to call him an ace or you want to call him a super 2, I don't really care what you want to call him. But in these moments, you need to help pick up your teammates. And maybe this isn't his fault. I understand that it's not. He doesn't have anything to do with the situation. But he certainly, Jake, can help. So I'm interested to see what Carlos Rodon does, because this is one of those games where he can go back to, mentally into that place where he gets hyped up and the moment gets too big. I'm looking forward to this start. I want to see what Rodon does, because it would be a nice step in the right direction. And I know that this season's been overall positive for him, but this would be a leap forward.
I agree. I do think the Yankees are going to get the win tomorrow. I think we're going to see another Aaron Judge home run off Dobbins. He just has, rookies numbers. So I think, Aaron Judge will continue. By the way, just like that, he's on pace to tie his career high 62 home runs. He is.
Did you see? Well, I think what's his name? Is it Cal Raleigh? He's on pace for 66.
Yeah. But
what is going on?
Is that even sustainable? I don't think so.
Well, we wouldn't know. I mean, literally any other player other than Ohtani could be on pace for 66, and we'd probably say, no, it's not sustainable. What other player in baseball?
He's on pace for 62 as well, because he has 26. Aaron Judge tied Kyle Raleigh today.
Interesting. I guess the graphic, he probably had 26 a few days ago. That's probably what happened. I want to catch up on these supers, and then we can get to our Profit X picks. Tiger Zen with the 2. We appreciate it, Tiger. Thank you for that. Said you're not going to get calls in Boston. I mean,
or Yankee Stadium if they're going up against Boston. Did you see the umpire audit?
No.
They gave Boston had like a 3.3 run advantage in the last series.
Yeah, and I hate just like tossing up the result to umpiring. So like I'll just move on from it. I'm not waiting for calls to beat Boston. You're not going to get calls to beat this team. You need to go out there and win. And then Robert with the super with the 2 says Ben Rice looks lost, has not played enough. So I feel like the conclusion there is sort of erasing the beginning there, because if Ben Rice played every day, then it wouldn't be an issue. And I think he's fine. Overall, his numbers are still good. Don't think it's a problem. This Yankees team's still scoring.
Yeah, Ben Rice had the hardest hit ball by a Yankee until Judge sent that one into Mars. So,
yeah, and to be fair, like hitting the ball hard it only matters if it doesn't find a glove. But I guess the point being is that he's got to get the results, and eventually we will start to look at him and assume, yeah, we can't just talk about exit velo. It also has to come with numbers behind that.
I like this, by the way. This is actually what pisses me off the most about the replay. Damn it, I wish you didn't bring this up.
It doesn't seem that hard, right?
Well, it's not. Because, see, like with the NFL, there's all the bodies everywhere. So they'll be like, yeah, we're trying to get an angle, but like the referee's ass is in the way. Or like, there's the entire offensive line or the coaches.
Everyone always has the idea that we should have like GPS and each tip of the football so we can have a real understanding. But then they always say, well, we're blocked here, so we can't make this call. It's impossible. Exactly. And we all sort of agree.
And then baseball, there's nobody in the way. And they still mess it up. I don't get it. I mean, hockey. Hockey. You have all, like, the puck is small as hell. You have all these guys all around. They make better calls. And they miss calls too, but they make better calls. The MLB, there's no excuse. The replay system has to be better. And I almost wonder if it's almost not better because when you have these casual fans, you want them tweeting all, like, angry on Twitter because then it just keeps your sport going and going and going and people are talking about it. It feels like that's honestly what it feels like sometimes. It's like it's good to have, like, when look at the comment section of the MLB Twitter account. And the result was that Volpe was out, or like however they worded it, and people are like, "No, that's not true at all. You don't know." Like, and now all these
publicity is good publicity in a sport that, by the way, statistically is growing. So, is it the fact that the game's faster? Is it the Ghost Runner? We won't.
It's not the
pretend to be. We won't pretend to be smart enough to tell you why that is. But so far, whatever they're doing is working. But Robert, we do agree ultimately with that. And Rocky Sullivan with the 5. Rocky, we really appreciate it. Says, I don't think inconclusive means what Major League Baseball thinks it means. No, it just they don't know what inconclusive means. Inconclusive,
no.
Like. If you're saying, hey, I'm going to watch this replay, there's going to be conclusive evidence, the overwhelming majority of people should just be able to watch it and say, oh, yeah, it's just this. And then you move on. It only takes you about 30 seconds to figure it out. But when you watch 5 minutes of replay, I almost feel by definition it's inconclusive. It's taking you that long. So the definition is now changing. So, yeah, Rocky, I agree. Jake, any final comments on this? Because that was brutal.
Next day off is I know, dude. Yeah, this stretch is brutal. I said it was 14. Yeah, dude, that's what I told you. I said it was 14 games. Do you realize it was still that's after 2 games already played. This is a 16 game stretch with no break. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they sit Judge again at some point in this giant stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem. I shouldn't say Judge should sit because, I mean, realistically,
he should DH,
guys in all of,
but like not sit.
He'll DH. A DH will be his day off. There's no reason for him to sit again. I mean, it's 16 games. He'll be okay. He's not fighting in a war. It's baseball. Like, I know I get it.
Yeah, let's not compare him to Ted Williams now. He fought in 2 wars and then came back and.
I'm telling you, this is not a war. He'll be okay. But what it does mean is when people were bringing up in our chats earlier about our bullpen, right? The health of our bullpen. Luke Weaver sort of inching his way forward and getting healthy. We need that. We need that presence. But also, even more importantly than that, we need guys like Carlos Rodon. We need guys to go length. And that is also the beauty of not necessarily tossing out guys who just give you quality starts. Sometimes you need more than quality to save and preserve guys completely all season long. So we'll see what happens. But, Ed, we really appreciate the 2. As always, thank you for that.
Yeah, so I think it's time to get to the Prophet X picks. I'm not really sure which way I want to go because, I mean, let's just simplify this, Gary. Do you see this being a close game in the 5 innings, or do you think one team will kind of pull away a little bit?
So I'd have to imagine this. The Yankees should be winning this game through 5. They should be winning probably 3-1, 4-1. But here's where the game gets tricky. If Carlos Rodon doesn't control his pitch count, which is entirely possible for any pitcher to run up their pitch count, especially when they miss bats as much as he does. But when everyone says our bullpen's gassed, what's most likely from Aaron Boone tomorrow? He's going to try and squeeze some extra outs, and we're going to see what Carlos Rodon does while being squeezed. Pressure, it can make a diamond or it can burst a pipe. We're going to find out, but I'd have to imagine there are going to be runs scored in the first 5 innings tomorrow. There shouldn't be any reason that Dobbins should control tomorrow's game.
Yeah, so I'll take Rodon's strikeouts. I'll take the over on that. I'll take first 5 innings. I'll take the under on 5. Might be a little tough, but I'm going to take it. And feel free to jump in here, Gary. I'm going to probably take...
I was just going to tell you, were you aware, and it was brought to my attention before the show, that there's a wager going on in our comment section. I guess 2 of our viewers have a wager that whoever wins this series has to super chat. I couldn't remember how much it was, but...
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll let them explain it in the comments.
Your mom, Willie Downer, you're starting to get it to be a buzzkill.
We're not sure if it's a Yankees fan or not, but I mean, I have a hard time believing. I couldn't remember what it was. It was like $250, $300 to super chat if they lose the wager. Yeah, I don't believe it's happening. I'm just going to say it right now. I don't buy it.
That is wild. All right, so
yeah, I don't buy it.
The last time Hunter Dobbins faced the Yankees, okay, that 11-7 game, we know Judge had the home run. He went 3 for 4 in that game. But aside from that, it was really just what? Volpe went 2 for 5. So I don't care if this is boring. I'm going to just go with Aaron Judge, total bases again. Did you know that was plus money when we recommended it last night? Plus money.
No, I didn't.
Plus 134.
Okay, so let's just go. You can go Judge. Obviously, he's the best player on the planet, so no one's going to get upset at you with that.
Might just roll their eyes. Ooh, you're really stretching out that one. The best right-handed hitter potentially of all time.
I don't even know why I'm looking at numbers, because I mean, no one on our team has more than 2 at-bats against this guy because he's never been here. He's been here for 15 minutes. So I'll just go ahead and pick a guy at the hat. I think Trent Grisham plays tomorrow. I think Trent Grisham goes over 1.5 total bases.
I like it. And I think JC Escarra plays again tomorrow.
Okay.
He caught for Rodon last time, so we'll see. We'll see. But that is all I got. In the comment section, I want you to type umpires suck.
Yeah, and like the video, of course.